Alrighty, here we go. Oh, he changed his name as well. I forgot about this. So we have another best of 5 decider. Thank you everyone for watching, having interest, and supporting the league. It's been a lot of work. Will continue to be a lot of work. In fact, even more work for me and JBR, who's been adminning, as we'll have gold and platinum starting in a few days. But as Sneaky Koala here, aka Bad Koala, is looking for a mill because he's Gurjara's, we start yet another series, another best of 5 to see who goes into gold for season 2. Now, Bad Koala, I think, has a little bit more name recognition. And I would just, I'm guessing this, right? I'm saying name recognition as a whole for you all as viewers. He plays a lot of team games with Yo, so you might see him there. He, I think, is more active in 1v1s. In general, he didn't take like a year or so off, which Whitecourt had to do when DE came out. But I think Whitecourt's actually the favorite in this series, though I believe it will be close. Whitecourt, at least on mixed maps, I think has better strategy. And Whitecourt, a player from Chile, has always been very good. But like I said, there was a year break in there. And I think when he plays, he doesn't run into as many well-known players. Rating-wise, I think he comes in around 2,300. Around the same where Bad Koala would hover. But Bad Koala has had some pretty wild strategies over the years. He's a player who likes his aggressiveness. And he finds himself with the Gurjaras here for game 1. Whitecourt on the other side is Chinese. And I think both these civilizations are like tip-top tier. And this might be a favorable matchup for the Chinese. I mean, it's weird that I would question that. But I actually think more and more I think about it, as long as the aggression doesn't come in too fast in early feudal against Chinese, I think Chinese can actually, one of the few civs that can maybe hang with that crazy little stable / unique unit option that you have with the Gurjaras, with the camels that do more bonus damage, the Shrafamshas, which are anti-archer, and then also, of course, the Chakram, which can come in a little bit strong, a little bit later. Map's looking pretty good for both of them to wall up. I just realized that Koala was actually pretty late to bringing in the additional sheep here. So that has actually delayed the eco side of things a little bit more than he would have liked. And also a little late to pushing in some of the deer as well. So Dark Age doesn't look too good. Meanwhile, Dark Age has looked near perfect so far for Whitecourt. Obviously, you start with 0 food in the bank. But you start with additional villagers as the Chinese. And yeah, this is as cool and clean as you like here. I don't know if Bad Koala is going for a rebrand here, but he has been Sneaky Koala for a few months. It's so tough for players to try and change their names, because if we've known them for years, we're like, oh yeah, that's that guy. Like, I still remember when Lan tried to change his name to Antagonist. I never really asked him why he gave up on it. But everyone would be like, who's Antagonist? And I would say Lantagonist. Lan, by the way, will be playing tomorrow. It's great to see him back competing. And I think he'll be a heavy favorite in his series. But yeah, so Bad Koala, Sneaky Koala. I mean, there's no other high-level Koala, so we could just end up calling the guy Koala. But right now, it looks like he might try something that's a little bit awkward at times. Or let's just say rare with his civilization. We've got enough wood for a barracks. So I'm wondering if Sneaky Koala is going to try and sneak into barracks here and go for man-at-arms. I've gotten surprised by that. I've now seen other players get surprised by that, because normally you're thinking scouts or archer opening against the Gurjaras. But actually, it's a false alarm. It probably will be one of those things anyways. Is there a bracket for Silver League available online? There is. It's on Challenge, and someone can probably link it for you. We'll see. Lan kind of half failed at it, I feel. Now he just gets called by 2 names at times. Well, I've never heard anyone call him by Antagonist, but maybe some people came in at that time and do. I like Lantagonist. It's a nice mix. But rebranding's not possible in this old game. Not with casters like me. Looks like this will be scouts here for Sneaky Koala. Meanwhile, and there I just called him Sneaky. Meanwhile, we have Whitecourt scouting his opponent. Is going to find the mill, found the wood line. The thing he will want to avoid, though, is this camel. And, oh, man. Koala is getting really lucky here. He didn't scout his opponent at all. And he's going to reach Feudal Age faster, which is going to give him a couple free hits there on that scout. That would be really frustrating for me if I'm Whitecourt. Because think about it on paper. You've done more work because you've scouted, right? Like, you've done the thing you're supposed to do, and you arriving to your opponent's base when he's not supposed to be there ends up with him in a position to attack your scout. But actually, it's not going to be too bad. He can use the villager here. But the camel does, like, decent amounts of damage there, so you got to be careful. In fact, you have to be really careful your barracks isn't denied. Well, scout will be in feudal age here for Whitecourt soon. And Whitecourt's also on gold, so Whitecourt's going to be going for archers. So, relaxed archer range on this side for the Koala. There is a hole here, by the way, which could end up playing its role. I'll keep an eye on that. And this could be all about clean execution here. I wouldn't get too excited about, like, whoa, what a crazy, sneaky strategy. Don't get too excited about that. It's Arabia, which is the most common Age of Empires 2 map. It's also a very safe version of Arabia. Both players playing very safe. It could be one of those series. So keep an eye on it. This could be a long one here. Is Sobek in Gold League? Yes, Sobek is in Gold League. So he's one of the other Chileans there. You did have Noisik, who played in Silver, but he lost to Beery. There's a lot of Chileans, man. There's also Huciel, who is going to be playing Gabby in a best of 5. And I think Huciel goes in as the favorite against Gabby, the Brazilian female player. I'll be casting that one tomorrow. But, like, Chile has always had, like, a lot of players in, like, their top 50, top 60, but they never really had one in the top 20. And, oh, God, this is a bit of a throw. The Spearman was pulled over here. Because the big issue right now for Whitecourt is he doesn't know what his opponent's doing. Right? He doesn't know what military his opponent's making. Actually, never mind. I lied. He went forward and saw it. But then, if that's the case, it's just kind of questionable not to have the Spearman in the proper position. So he had actually gone forward and checked that, which is really thorough. We'll wall back here. And yeah, just safe play, as you would want with both civilizations, but more so the Chinese. I think the Chinese not having really run into any issues so far means that I'd give them the edge. We'll see if maybe anyone's going to rush fletching here, if they're going to be relaxed with that timing. Good hits there on that camel scout. We've got 3 archers here from Koala. Moving forward, Whitecourt's going to see that. Dodges, pulls back. And just playing it safe. This is also the type of game you want to start off a tournament series. You don't want a messy game. You want a clean game so you can calm your nerves and relax. Loving the scouting from Whitecourt, actually. He scouted his opponent earlier. He then got pushed back home. He then confirmed his opponent's gone archers. Now he knows exactly where his opponent's army is. And look at Blue. Blue's like, okay, I was trying to be sneaky, but I'm not going to try that now because he's tracking me. I also love how he's continuing to track the army as well. Such confidence is lovely. And now you should be able to freely move forward if you see that number. But in the end, I think that this still will come down to how the micro looks, and we'll see if that tracking is going to be possible. It just doesn't feel like a sneaky army is going to accomplish too much for either player right now. So it's just about controlling the map. Yet again, I've been really impressed with the scout movement. You can be lazy with that stuff in most cases. And oh no! This is going to be horrible. Wow, somehow the scout didn't die over here. So that ends up being good for Koala, but a much better fight here for Whitecourt. He had higher archer numbers. He went into the fight expecting it. Koala probably was placing a farm or doing something else. And in the end, it's 5-3 KD. Both players have actually lost their scout. But look at this, guys. Like, obviously the wall off was a good idea here from Koala because he could take his back gold. But this area is going to be brutal for him if it's pressured in Castle Age. And that's precisely what I'd be thinking here if I'm Whitecourt. He's actually going for a market. Little uncommon with the Chinese because their eco is so good. Normally you're not seeing heavy market plays. But that might tell me that he really wants to finish this one fast. And he might just want to go 1 TC the entire game. It's common when you see the market that they'll just sell stone. And they would buy food so they can click up to Castle Age just a little bit faster. And he actually is only going to sell a little bit here. He's going to idle. He's going to do a little drop. And he's up. Good stuff. Rebranding is so hard. I tried changing people calling me Johnny when I entered adulthood. Wanted to just go by John and be a man. But after like 5 years of introducing myself as John and the next week them calling me Johnny on their own, I stayed with it. That's funny. Well, I mean, You know, I've thought about that as a content creator too. Like, if I ever wanted to change my logo, I think that is... I think changing logos isn't a positive, let's put it that way. Like, it might be a... what's the word? It might be like a sideways move. But I think, if anything, you changing logos just means that more people who see your recommended stuff in feeds think you're somebody else and they don't click your videos, or they don't see your live, or... I've thought about that kind of stuff. I think keeping things consistent and not making lots of changes is, in general, very good. All right, so where's the person who yesterday said Shravamsha's not a unit you can go for on its own? Shravamsha Rider's not that good against crossbows. I think they said Shravamshas are just as good against crossbows as knights are or something. I'm just curious because we see double stable here for Koala. And to me, it feels like we're going to see some Shravamsha Riders here. All that said, though, he's still got some archers, as he should have, because he could be worried about the opponent making knights or camels in combination with the archers here. And he might not be expecting Whitecourt to have this number. And, oh my god, again, Koala getting destroyed when he moves out with archers. Clearly, archer's not his strong suit, but clearly not even patrolling in some of these situations. These uptimes to Gaslights are just downright ridiculous, by the way. I know that the market was used by one player, but still... Sub 20-minute uptimes behind an archer build is super clean. Crossbow and Bodkin Arrow will come in, as will the second town center. So this is not a rush to ballistics. As we see Bloodlines and armor now coming in for the stable units. These crossbows are going to be looking to find damage. And the Shravamsha Riders are now on the way. Didn't you rebrand with growing the mustache? Well, I mean, that's not a rebrand, okay? That's just a change of style. And Villager gets picked off there. Koala has been... He's felt a little bit slow with some reactions this game. Strategically, it's been fine, but, you know, they've pretty much gone for the same strategy up to this point. I think Whitecourt just seems to be the faster player. Like, there's another Villager that goes down. Like, that one especially. That feels like a little wasteful. We are, however, going to see a very important town center go up here. And I'm wondering what Whitecourt thinks his long-term can be here. Does he believe this Shravamsha Rider is not a good unit? Because I've been terrorized by this unit, both as a caster and as a player. And I think with +2 armor and a couple leftover archers, the crossbows are going to have a nightmare pushing out. The double crossbow commitment is Shravamsha Rider. They say it dodges. It doesn't really dodge anything. It just, like, soaks up fire, basically. And Whitecourt doesn't even try and go for the Shravamshas, and now you've got 7 of them out there, and Whitecourt stayed on archers. So, like, yeah, the execution from Whitecourt, I feel, is pretty good, right? But I don't know if continuing with crossbows was the play there. Now, what do you make? And now, what do you do? It gets super tricky, right? Oh, man. We're going to see town center number 3 right now for Whitecourt. So, I think eventually... What you'll want to mix in is either pikemen or any type of stable unit, like knights or camels. But, I mean, the Shravamsha Rider could absolutely destroy here. And they're going to click in the base to see if there's a hole, and they're going to find this army. Okay, crossbows. Okay, they've made a choke. The TC's not up yet. That's actually so good from Whitecourt, though. Oh, my goodness. It could have been so much worse for him, because now only one unit's able to engage at a time, which allows him to get past that point where they're dodging. Very well played. 3 TC eco. Whitecourt will have the lead. Obviously, he killed villagers. Plus, his techs are cheaper. And he's on 3 TCs faster. There's the 3rd TC for Koala right behind him. Koala's making a lot of monks right now, so I think Koala's going to try and get the relics for late game. It does feel like Whitecourt's going to be able to get a switch... I don't want to say a switch in, but a unit to complement his crossbows. And I do like the fact that he's still been able to get really nice value from the crossbows. He's continued to mass them. Because if you make a full switch into stable units, let's say, or infantry, there's always going to be a counter on the other side. So you want to have a combination. Zico is also looking really clean as he defends from the Shravamsha Riders here. He just has no map control, right? And I feel like moving out would lead to him losing his crossbows right now. So probably wise he's not doing so. Hello, Lee. Welcome. Did Gabby win? No, Lee, she plays, excuse me, tomorrow. I'll be casting that series. Versus another Chilean player in Husiel. Oh, Koala wants some siege. I was wondering when that would happen, right? And I'll be honest with you. With how Whitecourt's controlling things right now, the Sravamsha Rider's not looking too crazy. Can someone tell me what changes have been made to the Sravamsha from when they were initially brought into the game to now? Can someone remind me? Because the real issue with, like, judging this unit has been Season 1 of Titans League happened, and Gurjaras were just melting everything. Like, Gurjaras as a whole, I have been nerfed a little bit. But I'm trying to remember what changes were made to the Sravamsha Rider, and if I'm missing something that should be more significant than my mind is telling me right now. I mean, the unit's still so freaking fast. Imagine if there was some siege here, right? It also doesn't cost a lot of gold, which I think is a really big deal. Whitecourt made a couple palisade foundations for his crossbows. And that's not the first time he's done that here. He's still only at 13 crossbows, though. It still feels like he needed something more in this game. Like, I don't think that ends up being good for his crossbowmen. They need to run. And they need more support here. Okay, there's a stable now for Whitecourt. Now, if all the monks were here, this would be a really good situation here for Koala. This is going to be such a good game here, guys. I'm so pumped for this. That knight should kill the mango. Get deleted. Delete it. Very well played. I like how they both saw this hill as a point of focus. More Sravamshas on the way. And then you've also going to have mangoes and also going to have monks. That castle needs to come up soon for Whitecourt. He's been banking up stone for a long time. The timing on this is crucial. Normally you'd want to castle the hill, but I think castling below your hill is more than acceptable. But will it be denied? At night, killing that one mangonel a moment ago might make all the difference in whether or not the castle goes up. Because there's 2 mangoes now. Now 3. What a difference that would make. The crossbows moving forward. Okay. Killed the Sravamsha. Lots of confidence from Whitecourt, who's now mixing in ballistics, bloodlines, forging, husbandry, all types of upgrades for the military he's making. 2 relics for Koala. Full map control right now. And Whitecourt might want to... I think he's waiting to take the fight because he wants to clear this and then drop the castle, which would be amazing, right? Like, that's a dream scenario, but sometimes you have to settle for more realistic options. And oh my goodness, these Sravamshas. Oh, jeez. And then the mangonels are on the other side, and then there's monks for the knights, which is a big problem. This one crossbow might help, though. Overall, for Whitecourt, it actually seems to be making a big difference that he added in the knights, and most of the monks didn't get conversions, and now this is where Whitecourt could take the hill. This is what he was waiting for. Extreme patience. Let's see if he can do it. There's quite a few siege weapons exposed here. Monks are coming in from the backside, though. And I mean, there's even villagers coming forward from Koala, which is either a waypoint issue or he wants to drop a castle soon himself. Oh god, the conversions actually came in. What's happening? There's also a 4th TC going up behind this. Right over here on this side. I would have maybe preferred a TC there. It's far away from all the action here. If you lose this access to this area, you could have some big problems. Here he goes with the bills. Here he comes with the bills. Oh boy. There will be 2 mangonels that can contest this. Can he see this? Oh, he can see it all right. That's his outpost. I couldn't really tell. You have to try and stop this, right? If you stop this castle, you could win the game. You've got to take this opportunity. Will it work? Not if Whitecourt plays like this. He picks off that mango. Boom. Easy. He's microing with the crossbows. He's got enough villagers building this thing. God, Whitecourt is such a beast. Felt like everything was so patient and calculated here. And he will complete the castle. He can shoot the mango down. His crossbows are going to help out too. The castle's got ballistics. And while he doesn't have the eco lead right now, he finally gets the job done there. And now Koala just makes a dive for the TC, which is also a very smart decision. Whitecourt has the quick wallet. Man, are these 2 players good. Woo! They are both so freaking good. It's going to be looking worse now for Koala, though. He doesn't have much of an army anymore. Army he does have is getting some value here, but nothing that crazy. Might be able to deny this TC, though. We'll see if Whitecourt allows it with some quick walls. This is a problem, though, right? You've got 8 knights about to be 12 knights with the crossbow mass, and they have almost full upgrades in Castle Age. And now suddenly it feels like Sneaky Koala, or Bad Koala, whatever you want to call him, he just can't defend himself from this combination. And we were wondering if that combination would have been the opening move for Whitecourt, right? He opened crossbows and then that fell flat. But his eco has allowed him to make this now, and the timing was just good enough. I mean, if he's feeling good enough about this too, he could maybe place a get out of my game castle right here on this town center. This is a crazy fast-paced game right now. There's so much is happening, so many great plays from both players, but it's all Whitecourt right now. As some Siege and some Shravamshas are trying to group up here. If you lose this area, you probably lose the game. That's what I had said at the start. Let's see if Blue can hold on to it now. Look at this, though. Like, the Knights get pulled back, and then the Monks go for conversions, and then the Monks hop inside the TC. Like, these guys are playing out of their minds. You don't have to do a forward castle right now. Also, auto farm is a thing, Whitecourt. You should probably enable it now. You don't have to go forward castle here, but I think that would be awesome. I think that could probably finish the game. He's slowly dealing with those units. He's reseeding some farms. Would also maybe like to see +2 armor. I'm a little concerned he doesn't have a lot of food eco. He only has 24 on food. That's something that he's going to want to fix, and there's +2 armor. And then villagers are coming from somewhere to drop a castle, and it looks like they're coming from that stone. It's actually not that many. But I mean, so much pressure in this area, so much idle time for Koala, and the knight crossbow combination just seems too strong. It was a great combination. I think if you would have had crossbow, Shravamsha, or... I guess it's an issue. You don't really have knights. Camel Shravamsha is what I think you want to go for, but then you don't have the ranged melee combination. So, I mean, Chinese have been beating every civilization, regardless of what they make, with eco, knights, and crossbows for years. Whether that be Aztecs or whatever else. Man, Whitecourt's micro is impressive. I think Koala has to take the fight here. I don't know if he'll win it, but it's absolutely a fight you need to take, because if this castle goes up, you have big problems. Unfortunately for him, I don't think this Shravamsha is good enough here. I don't think he has the numbers masked. Maybe, you know, having a few additional attack upgrades would have been helpful, but wow. It's a massacre. And the Chinese, civ that's been around for so long, dominating a Chinese player here in game number 1, actually. There's a reason I said Whitecourt's probably the favorite. I think we saw a lot of that in this game. He's a really talented player, as he's going to go for TC number 5 even on that stone. So now he controls both of these golds, and he's got a defensive castle at home, and he's got TCs pretty much everywhere. I mean, raiding is possible with Shravamsha, but it's going to be a lot of work. And Whitecourt even outposting now, so he has a little bit more vision on where he's exposed. And he clicks up to the Imperial Age. And another castle, too. And a TC! What? What is... I guess, actually, I don't hate the town center. I think he's placing this because he can't fight these units off. And he just wants this area to be protected. It looks kind of funny, because normally you don't want a new town center in an area where you're not collecting more resources, but the more I think about it, the more I feel like that's actually one of the best things you could do here. Wow. So I think what Koala's hoping for is to get Imp faster, and then have castles and treb all this down. The problem is, he's not going to be Imp faster. He obviously won't know that. He probably will suspect it at this point, but, you know, in the event that Whitecourt wasn't on the way to the Imperial Age, then he could treb his way back into this game and take all of his golds, and you never really know. More stables over here. We might see the unique tech. I actually forget the name of it. I think it's the one that starts with a K, like Citrus or something. It's actually been a bit since I've seen it, but it makes all your... it makes the cost on all your food units a bit cheaper. I think it's like 20% cheaper, which is more than a bit. I think like with Hussar spam, it can get really insane later on. But you just got so many good gold options for Whitecourt, who will also be able to take these relics. And he's just got castles everywhere. And okay, I was pretty close, actually. Casatrius? I haven't practiced my pronunciation on that one. Whitecourt has 2 castles, but he's going to have enough for 2 more soon. And he's still taking stone all over the map. He's taking stone with 26 villagers in 3 different areas. And the GG's called. Dominant first game there from Whitecourt, who showed his skill and I think also showed just some confidence. Like the way he played this, going just crossbows for the majority of Castle Age into eco is so freaking risky, man, against Revamsha Riders. But, you know, after he'd moved out initially, he'd killed some vills, and then he just was able to stay at home, and he timed that night switch perfectly, as well as, I think, didn't panic when the pressure came in. I would absolutely have dropped the castle here and said, well, okay, I keep myself safe from this push. I don't want to address this push. And then if you do that, you might, you know, your opponent might castle here and go imp, or a lot of different things could happen. So his decision to save the stone and then fight up that hill and place what ended up being an amazing castle for him was pretty epic. And then ultimately ended up castling here, and the rest was history. Whitecourt wins the first game. That was a map where you would expect both players to be playing kind of their peak, because Arabia is a map that both players are very good on. But we'll see what Sneaky Koala has planned for some of his home maps here in this series. Resources collected. It feels like he probably should have had more, right? I think for Whitecourt, it just he didn't have auto farm on. He toggled that on a little bit later, I saw. But yeah, he didn't quite have the food eco that Gurdara player had, but he had tons of everything else. And obviously, this all would have shot up if the game continued. Well, I was wondering what Koala would go for. He lost a very meta game in the first game, and here we have it. Houseboat, baby. Houseboat, Sneaky Koala or Bad Koala, whatever you want to call him. Going for the Japanese here. Now we have Whitecourt playing as the Malay. 2 civilizations that are good with competing on water. Obviously, you have a map where if you don't dominate water, you won't have a town center, and you won't have a transport. And it is not very fun to play, I can tell you. I'm trying to remember if either of these players played in Wandering Warriors Cup back in January. You know, they didn't make it very far, but I mean, we had almost every competitor playing, and you know, the biggest names would have gone deep into the tournament, which is the upside of Titans League, because I don't even remember if those guys competed, because these guys here might have like lost in the first or second round, and then they don't ever have another opportunity. They're just out, and then it's like, well, best of luck to you. Hope you enjoyed getting spanked by a top 10 player. Better luck next time, you know? Whereas like this format gives them more to fight for consistently. But yeah, so I don't remember, but I definitely know that they'll be prepared for this based off their civs. And something I'd mentioned earlier on in the day is how optimal it is to play with 2 docks at home. And that's what Viper had always done. And Viper, I don't think ever lost a houseboat game. I could be wrong, actually. I believe he lost a houseboat game. But anyways, he's generally speaking a pretty good player to look to as far as optimal play style. I wouldn't say he always plays meta, but on mixed maps, Viper is probably the best player. And so I'm wondering how we're going to see the docks placed. And then if Whitecourt, using the faster advancing to the next stage technique, or not technique, but bonus, wants to rush, or if he wants to play defensive. What I think is optimal, I'm going to say again, okay? You dock on the outside, and you dock on the outside, and you take at least 2 villagers taking the shorefish. I've seen players do 2 on either side, because you're going to run out of the shorefish here eventually. You go fast feudal into a second dock at home with the Malay. Because of the vision you have, I think you should place that forward, because it just allows you to see if your opponent's showing up to your water. If you don't see your opponent going for your water, you add fishing ships. If you do see your opponent going for your water, you send a couple of villagers to gold, and you defend your water, because you already have 2 docks up. They're going to be building theirs around the time you reach feudal. You should always defend your water. So you either, in option A, have a better fish boom, and then obviously you have to defend. They might go land, whatever. But still, you've got better economy. Option 2, you just dominate their water and defend your water, and then you could always have better economy than 2. So, I don't know. Now, what's interesting is Koala went for an inner dock which most people don't do because these box turtles, these are box turtles you're already going to be taking anyways and dropping off of the TC. It's better to get more food access if you dock the outside. But interestingly enough, he is making use of the cheap mills. So he's got a mill here, which was only 50 wood as the Japanese, which makes me feel a little better about that whole situation. Interesting matchup for sure. It's a matchup we've seen before as well. I think Mayans, Chinese, Lithuanians, Byzantines. Those are some other civilizations we've seen on this map. And there's probably a longer list too. Ultimately, it kind of depends on the confidence levels these players have. Some players might see this as a loss in their mind, and then so they might not really they might not draft high, and so they might end up with more awkward civilizations because they pick civs on their draft for all their other maps. But I didn't look at the draft, but I imagine this would have been pretty high up there for both of them, or at least like middle of the pack. And we'll see Feudal Age, that's for sure. Here comes Whitecourt. This looks like a rush for me. Double lumber camp. Well, actually, I thought when it was 3 villas, he might send villagers forward, so we'll see. Will Koala go over to the opponent's water here? Hasn't scouted the shoreline yet. So I'm going to assume no. But he's also not showing me a sign. I mean, he's got villagers on gold. There's a villager there. Oh, God, he doesn't know where he is. Oh, my God. Rule number 1, if you're going to try and dock your opponent, is know where he is. Oh, my goodness. He's going to see something here. He's going to see the villagers, and now he knows he can bring the vill. Okay. Meanwhile, barracks for Whitecourt. And, ooh, this will be interesting. It looks like Whitecourt's going to be able to kill Koala's scout. He'll be in Feudal Age faster. Thank you, Malay. And while Koala will also be in Feudal Age and can get to the hill, it feels like there's not really a spot to hide. Actually, that was it. That spot was it right there. Okay, there's the dock. And Whitecourt doesn't see it because the scout's out of position. And then, you know, Koala, even though he lost his scout, was able to see a barracks was coming up. So he'll be able to know that this is going to be like archers or something, because the barracks is a prerequisite for the archer range. And now he's going to build the dock. So like, he's actually in a pretty solid position here as he's trying to save the villager. It's kind of confusing because there's yellow outpost foundations, but there's the blue ones. And now he's forcing Whitecourt into defending on water. But the walling part's the huge thing. It's not just the being aggressive on water, but it's being able to wall up. That I think is the deal breaker here. Or the difference maker. I think Koala wants to build a dock there, but can't because the straggler tree. Could actually run over there and chop the straggler tree. And then palisade it. Okay. I mean, Villager's going to want to hang around to repair. And Koala a little late to reacting here. Here's the archer too. Yeah, this Villager's going to die. Really good job from Whitecourt. He'll have archers, but he's also defending on water. And he still will have plenty of opportunity to counterattack, obviously, with those archers. Is the archer hitting the Vill? It is. It keeps missing and hitting the fire ship, which is kind of funny. Also, it's just... Villagers repairing fire ships just looks so stupid. It just looks so ridiculous. Just hammer away, hammer away. There you go. But I guess... You know, the thing that I also remember about this map that's pretty interesting is that if you can keep this dock working for long enough, eventually they run out of the fish here. Like, look, he's 100 food away from finishing this. He'll want to be on these fish. So it's kind of a positive if you just keep this dock alive for a couple minutes. Second dock at home for Koala, who added a galley because the only spot he will be vulnerable will be his own shoreline. That was the next thing I was going to say to you guys, is how if Whitecourt realizes the situation, Whitecourt should try and dock this But that might not be possible now. Interesting, interesting, interesting. This looks pretty well calculated from Koala, too. He'll have 3 fires, and then he'll also have a demo. I think it's very easy for someone in Whitecourt's position to just think so much about the land that you forget about the water and you underestimate what your opponent's going to do there. They're still transporting villagers from the TC to the shoreline. That doesn't stop. So, it's a complicated aspect of this that we shouldn't forget. And we now see stone walls and a market here from Koala, who is just playing it safe. And, I mean, he's going to be able to take this gold, so that's completely fine. And he's now sending 2 villagers somewhere. Right through the middle. Super risky stuff. I'm not sure. Maybe he's trying to get back to the shoreline, honestly. His demo's about to hop out of the dock. I think he's going to head right back over to that dock. He'll take out this fire ship. And here he comes with the demo. Demo. It's so weak, though. It might not actually end up doing damage to the ships. So I'm not sure. He's going to try, though, probably. Yeah, it doesn't do a lot. Archers there. Pretty ineffective. Villagers are coming back! Sneaky Koala just walked right through the middle. Not so sneaky Koala, but it's like so bold that you would never expect your opponent to do it. And guys, again, this deep fish is almost gone. So you got villagers to repair now from blue. Yellow's trying here. Oh, this is fun. He's trying to dock, and he's distracting the galley with his scout. Oh, what a play! What a play. That's so sick. Because otherwise, this would be annoying for him. And I think Koala might have just noticed it. We'll see if he produces it at home. But meanwhile, we've got a freaking tower here. Whitecourt's terrified. He's even towering next to his town center at the moment. And he should be terrified. The TC fire is helping. But he needs more production quickly, as we even have a tower over here. Still no production whatsoever from Koala, by the way, at home. He hasn't clicked up the castle age, but he could do so. And this just got really messy, really fast. And I think Whitecourt's starting to feel some pressure right now. He's desperate to click up to the next stage here. He needs to quickly. Now, a lot of people might say, why don't you just fish trap with the Malay? Well, yeah, but that costs 100 wood. He's spending so much wood on attacking. And he's also spending a lot of wood on defending. So wood is a luxury at this point. Why a galley? I'm not sure I think he maybe tried to add another galley at home or something. I don't know. By the way, Koala doesn't realize this yet. He's so focused on the front, as he should be. And then he had to defend from the archers here, which meant he needed to drop another market. But this game is absolutely crazy right now, as Houseboat tends to deliver. Could see more towers as well from blue. He's been pretty heavy on stone. Here he is with a demo now. Oh, God, and the demo got sniped by the tower. That tower is actually pretty good. That tower makes it so awkward for blue to move forward. Hey, look at that. Yeah, blue's probably looking somewhere else. Look, he made fire galleys at home, and he had to quick wall here, and then he just lost a bunch of ships. There's just too many things to do on this map. I'm beginning to prefer Whitecourt's position. He's defended himself okay. He's still attacking with ranged units, which his opponent has to respect. Oh, that demo was disgusting. So he has all but defended his water for now. And Sneaky Koala doesn't have the food to be able to upgrade to War Galley, guys. He has very little food income right now. Also, there's been a couple farmers out here, a couple shorefish villagers, a couple berry villagers. There's a hole there, which may or may not be walled. And Malay are able to catch up to the next stage pretty quickly. I'd like to see just one fish trap. I feel like one fish trap is going to feel so nice. But then again, he doesn't have a lot of navy. So I take that back. I take it back. Here we have an attack. Yellow could barely be aggressive here or threaten a transport ship. But obviously, blue has to respect that it could happen. So it might end up clearing up his own water. There's a knight or two here from blue, which Whitecourt has to defend from. He has to wall this backside in a panic. It's kind of funny, though. No, don't send the spearmen out. That actually allows blue to get over there. I guess the gate closed, so it's fine. This is being walled now. Blue hasn't given up. He's got 3 fires. Yellow's got 1. Mangonel combined with some knights is pretty strong. Crossbows over here could loop in against this, which is awkward against the siege. I've said it before and I'll say it again. When we added Houseboat in Wandering Warriors, I'd never expected the map to be this freaking good, man. This map always produces close games, and every game somehow seems to be somewhat different. It's similar in how they approach it, but it just... One player will have a bad thing happen, the other player has a similar bad thing happen, or a completely different bad thing happen. I don't know how to explain it. It's just... It's chaos, but it's calculated chaos. And that's obviously a credit to the player base. The fact that War Galley's in now makes me really worried for Whitecourt. He went for the crossbow upgrade instead of the War Galley, and he's been producing crossbows instead of ships, which I think is a big mistake here. I mean, he will lose access to all of this. He also won't have water as the melee, so he won't have that fish trap potential. And Navy can range so many of the resources that he's currently taking. I think crossbowman upgrade just too expensive to justify it with that many crossbows. He doesn't even have double digits. He did make some knights. But man, does Koala need this one? Like, Koala so badly needs this game. I think losing 2 straight, you just cannot come back at this level. These guys are both too good. No one's going to let 3 games slip in a row. We've seen it, but I mean, you know, the pressure, everything combined with a reverse sweep is just going to be so complicated. But look at this. The knights looping in. Normally there's monks with this type of push, but nope. Last thing you're going to expect from the melee is knights, and the knights actually clear up this little push. And now the crossbowmen can move in and clear this up. And if these crossbowmen and knights can get over to the main base of Koala, who knows what could happen. Whitecourt obviously needs to put a ton of focus on getting food eco rolling, as we see a TC in the very corner for Koala and a TC on the other side too. He also is low on food eco. No fish trapping for him. But I mean, again, look at all the eco that's exposed right now for Whitecourt. So much eco exposed. So much potential for Koala with this water control. I mean, you want to counterattack with this army, so it's just a matter of if you can find a spot to do it. It feels like with Koala expanding a little bit, which he kind of had to do, it gives you more potential, because there's going to be more villagers outside of where those walls were placed. But they're actually really smart TCs. You can always take a resource that can't be ranged by crossbows. And this whole thing is just not going to be fun. Having to play tower defense here. I think Whitecourt really wants to build the town center here, but doesn't have the stone yet. Ugh, what a rough feeling. Honestly, maybe you just shoot the boar, eat the boar, and then maybe eventually you'll get the resources. But I think there's just too many things that he has to do right now. And of course, in the back of his mind, he's like, I'm definitely behind here. As we see Koala get rid of this thing, and he just deletes the town center. He doesn't want to produce more villagers there anymore, and I like that decision. He's got town centers working on the outside. He's got to attack on the water on the other side. It's just too much focus there, and probably not worth it. The fire ships will take out this tower. The Whitecourt with a measly attempt to defend with just one little galley, a fire galley. Let's see Koala's reaction here. He could easily lose 10 or so vills if Yellow just runs underneath the TC. It shouldn't happen. Also, there is a 1-tile gap there. And this could be... Oh, God. You need a bunch of stone walls and a demo. A bunch of stone walls and a demo really quick. Okay, TC Garrison. There's the stone walls. Here's some Navy. Okay, good defense. But still, you're probably going to have to leave this area with all these vills if you're blue. And there is a TC here for Whitecourt. There's a TC over here. He's got more farming eco. And he's got land army. So, honestly, I think this game continues on. We've seen most houseboat games end in early Castle Age in this Silver League. I think it makes sense for Whitecourt to delete this, by the way. He's using select all TCs to create villagers, and he's created a few villas there that he can't really use. But yeah, I mean, Whitecourt's got some decent vision, too, so he knows where blue is. And, I mean, there's just nothing that blue really has to defend from this push. So, with no siege from blue, I'm really starting to think that Whitecourt could bring himself back into this. As he drops another town center. Another stable now in the middle. Also, villagers headed this way. I think that's a gather point bug. Maybe, maybe not. No, it definitely is. Oh my god, villagers. Oh god, no! Whitecourt set his gather point forward on his town centers. He's got villagers coming forward. And, oh, he cannot. Okay, he must have realized now. Well, I guess he's going forward siege or something because all these villagers are here now. But he can't afford to toss those villagers away right now. Wait, Koala has no gold? Wait, what? Holy crap. He needs the castle to get a gold. And he's going to drop a TC on that gold. That should be possible. But yeah, I didn't realize he actually had no gold. Also, when you're in these types of games, you are usually forgetting about eco upgrades. Because in a normal game, you research wood upgraded this time, farm upgraded this time, wheelbarrow, blah, 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 blah. But you don't have that normal order of events. So players are not used to checking for certain eco upgrades at this stage. And the game's so messy, obviously, so you're more distracted. So I actually prefer Whitecourt's position with his eco... Actually, no, I don't. I meant to say Koala's position with his eco upgrades. But I think I prefer Whitecourt's position with the other aspects of the game. Like, this is a perfect position to go for a siege push. Yeah, he did have gold here. He just probably just didn't notice it. So he has this gold now. But yeah, wood upgrade and farm upgrade would be massive here for Whitecourt. Like, at least horse collar. Because he's going to feel that it's a double whammy, right? Because his farms are going to continually reseed. And he's just going to be spending wood that he doesn't really have to keep them going. Okay, those 3 villagers are going to go down. But 2 villagers died here. This tower is doing work over here. The knights are also doing work. And the eco count is similar. Whitecourt has fallen behind in this game, but he's not dying. And it's a sign of the best player, right? Is the player who's able to fall behind and claw it back. Even in the previous game, he knew how to give up map control and still be okay. Oh, a couple knights looping in over here, though. It's just everything's so random. But Whitecourt reacts to it beautifully. Very well played. The knights shouldn't do too much. They don't have that many upgrades. TC Fire should help. TC Fire would help more if Bodkinar was in, but... Okay, the knights kill a couple of villagers. I don't think he'll complain about that. I might see Guard Tower. I think both players could consider it here. Especially because both civs are great archer civs. I think, especially in this instance, rushing down Guard Tower would be really helpful. Which is clearly what Koala's thinking at the moment. Bodkinar has just now come in for Whitecourt, so his towers are stronger, his crossbows are stronger, his TCs are stronger as he goes for TC number 4. Come on, do an eco upgrade check here, Whitecourt. Oh, God. His eco is really struggling with food right now. Like, look at the farming eco for Koala. Koala's just been super stubborn over here, and he's never added siege, which is beyond me. I guess he just wants to go full knights. But I feel like siege would have been an easier option. Full knights isn't bad. You do get bloodlines, though he hasn't researched it, and he has +2 armor. But to me, it feels like, you know, this has done more damage than maybe it should have. And Whitecourt hasn't had monks. He's never been over 20 crossbows, and a lot of the crossbows are split up as well, right? So, okay. If this is going to be a clear, or should be a clear, he might want to hide the fact that he has this number, though. And I think the eco is going to end up making all the difference. It's not just the vill count, but it's how efficient that economy is, how many workers you have on certain resources. And okay, there's actually a pretty big mass coming over here from Whitecourt, but this will get cleared up before any monks arrive. That's 3 mangonels that will be lost. We'll probably see a quick wall attempt here. And it's an impressive attempt. I wouldn't have tried that personally. I would have just said crap and lost all my stuff. But he's still going to say crap and lose all his stuff. So we're the same at the end of the day. The boar gets shot. Whitecourt's taking out his frustrations on the wild animals here. As he quickly clicks the pikeman upgrade because he simply was not expecting that number of knights. Dang. Okay. By the way, what's everyone saying about not used to live? These are Rex. These are not live games. It's probably saying he's not used to live stream, so welcome, welcome. But yeah, we released all the sets at the same time to whoever else wants to cover whatever. And something that I do a lot of is I sum up the game and like break down certain things, which can lead to me falling a little bit behind other people if they're covering games because they just go into the next game right away. But I think it's important to do each game justice, talk about certain things, and man, we might have a lot to talk about with this game because I'm not sure about the all-in Japanese Knights. Like, that is spending a lot of resources that is going to delay your imp. Granted, not with this eco. And pikeman crossbow in this position with a castle drop could be so freaking strong. This is what knights are able to accomplish, though, right? This is so smart from Sneaky Koala, who's got to be worried about that big ball here, right? Like, this has got to be something in the back of his mind. But still splitting up those knights, going to different regions of the map. One or two knights can do a lot, get a lot of value, and there we see nice little defense from Whitecourt as he still very much wants to push forward here. God, Koala's food eco is crazy, though. It was actually the same in the previous game, too. It was the same situation. Crossbowman. Oh, God. Well, I mean, the Siege Workshop might need to be deleted here, to be honest. I think you get a better engagement if you delete the Siege Workshop. But then you have a Scorpion on the way. So maybe you make the Scorpion and then you delete it? I think you've got enough. The Scorpion will be there. The crossbows will have to move. Knights here could still run in. And we might have ourselves a series. We do have ourselves a series. Yeah, you do get Cavaliers Japanese, but I don't think that it'll even get there at this stage. The eco's just not good enough for Whitecourt. Still no feudal age eco upgrades beyond wheelbarrow. And also, if your opponent goes full pikeman and you're Japanese, it's just an invitation to go for one of my favorite unique units, the samurai, right? No activity on the left side for Whitecourt, who, let's be honest, did a really good job to stay alive in this game. I think he struggled to defend and yet was able to take it late. But we have double tower drop here from Koala, who is going for guard tower now. Let's go, Yasama hype. Oh, man, that was a juicy shot. But yeah, double tower will go up. Rams could take out all the buildings. Knights are trading effectively against the pikes. Whitecourt's going to drop a castle here to kind of like delay this from killing him. But as long as Koala finds a little bit of stone, which he's now looking for, he should be able to just drop a castle and make trebuchets in the next stage. Unfortunately, as always in a pro game, I don't think Yasama is really going to be prioritized here. It's going to be trebs, and trebs are ultimately more important. I think guard tower in general is really good. But holy crap, man, he got more villager kills there than I expected, and he's gotten more villager kills here than I expected. He has resources to go imp again. There's no, there's nothing beyond the Imperial Age, so that's not actually an option, obviously, but this guy's eco is flying. If you remember how the previous game went, the eco wasn't that bad for Koala. It was just the fact that he didn't really have the production, and he didn't really have the control over the game. I guess he had, attempted that at one point, but he just didn't have the units. But with what I'm seeing from him, his ability to play through messy games, and then this economy behind it, and all the upgrades too, like guard tower, ballistics. He's going to switch into cav archers now, which is actually underrated with the Japanese. I could continue. This is going to be a ridiculous series here. I wonder if Whitecourt calls it here. Yep, he does. Okay, I was going to say he is melee, so he could choose to play on. He's probably been feeling like he's dead for a while. And so he probably wouldn't have been finished off right away, but Sneaky Koala definitely would have been able to kill him. He would have had all the cav archer upgrades. He would have probably had trebuchets soon, and I think Whitecourt would have made its imp, maybe had like some pikemen or something, but ultimately it wouldn't have been enough. What a great game. So, no, I'm trying to think of how this game even opened up. I kind of forgot half of it. But, in the end, it wasn't so much this that I think made the difference, but it was the fact that Whitecourt didn't double produce out of 2 docks here against 1. And then villagers at one point, I'm going to have to find it. Yeah, these villagers changed this game again here for Koala because he was kind of up against it. He was stuck in his own base. There were archers everywhere. He was going to lose water. And then sending those 2 villagers across the map changed the entire game. It was a sneaky move, which is maybe why he changed his name to Sneaky Koala. Trying my best to deal with that change. But yeah, there's the stats you probably saw on screen. And then he collected 15,000 more resources. He had more of every single resource there. I actually forgot that we had Desert Arena. And, oh, what a fun Civ matchup this is going to be. I hate playing as the Cumans. I hate playing against the Cumans, but casting them is awesome because you have clear differences in strategy, and we get to compare those things. I will speed up through a little bit of the Dark Age because I've been told by some people that I'm apparently behind where some other people are, so for the sake of consistency there, I guess I should do that. It's also Arena, right? So I'm going to be able to talk through the majority of the things that I'll need to in a little less time, so that's fine. Cumans, it's all about the 2 TC boom. Yes, they can do other things, but those other things normally are not as strong and do not put you into as good a position as the 2 town center start does. Only civ that can make a 2nd town center in Feudal Age. We are on a map with very heavy stone walls, so there's not really a lot that people can do to stop you. Now, if you know your opponent's going to do that, you can oftentimes try and pressure them by taking the middle. So you can go Siege Knights, for example, and that's an option. But, the other things that people think about is maybe a bit of a 3 TC boom. So Fast Castle into a 3rd TC, and then the eco ends up being a little bit even later on. I think the best thing you do against Cumans in general is Fast Castle, Castle Drop Unique Unit. But generally, you want a ranged unique unit. And Gunpowder is really good too. Like Spanish, Conquistadors, Turks, Janissaries, Portuguese, organ guns. And the Burgundians don't have that. So, yeah, I just don't know. Like, can you maybe go with Siege and Coustier? Maybe? I mean, it's a great unit. And does that fit Whitecourt's playstyle, too? All questions that will get answered in this game. An important thing for Whitecourt, though, is that he does not leave his base with his scout until Castle Age. Because if the Cuman player is going up faster, his scout will be faster and have more attack and will always kill this. So if Whitecourt's thinking about what he thinks his opponent will do, and what his opponent will almost always do here, he should never leave his base, which seems to be the case right now. All right. Also, I don't think tower rushing is a realistic option here. I'll just slow it down now. I don't think it's a realistic option because tower rushing on this version of Arena is just going to take too much time. It's 1800 HP on each stone wall. We kind of reverted it back to the classic Arena, And there we go, 2nd TC. Interesting that he's also brought some sheep over to this TC. So 7 or 8 villagers is what people think is optimum these days. He might prefer to have, I don't know. Like, I was thinking maybe he should have 1 more sheep over here, so these villagers could still be taking food. But in an ideal 2 TC boom, you want to have Horse Collar before you make any farms. And, I mean, ideally 0 TC idle time, but I think there's normally a little bit, if I'm not wrong. He's clearly thinking farms with these villagers. Some of these villagers go wood, rest of the villagers go sheep. He's trying to balance this out. All of your wood income from here will go directly towards farms. And then all your food income goes towards vills. But yeah, I think it doesn't fit Whitecourt style. But I think a good strategy against this would be castle dropping here and going all in. And it also doesn't necessarily suit the Burgundians. So Whitecourt's going 26 plus 2. In all my testing, I would do 25 plus 2. So he's gone up a Ville later than you normally see. But I believe every single farm that he's placed has horse collar at this point. He's going to have no issues affording everything he wants. And honestly, I can't hate on it too much because it's still going to be one of the cleanest ecos you'll have when you arrive to Castle Age. The arena guys are going to be like, oh, 1 Ville late, that's horrible. But I think this comes down to what he's going to do with the control he gets in the middle. He's going to get that control in the middle regardless once he gets the second scout out, which will happen. And there's the stable. That stable position tells me he wants to be aggressive. Maybe it's just my thinking, but it makes TCing here awkward. But the clock is ticking, man. The clock is ticking. 4 seconds of TC idle time here from Koala. It's been perfect. 26 plus 2 with horse collar and 25 plus 2 without? Really? Okay. I was doing 25 plus 2 without. It was a little awkward, but it was still achievable. But, you know, I had tested a few things with the Burgundians. It wasn't as much for arena, though. It's more fortified clearing. All right, so stable market's an interesting one. I don't hate it. A lot of players will do this because sometimes you need the market to buy and sell things in a pinch. But it does also tell me he's not going to go for any upgrades on his scouts, which makes me think he's just going to 3 TC boom this bad boy. So what should happen then, if it is going to be 3 TC boom, is that Koala is going to be floating a ton of food. Because this mini 2 TC boom incorporates a ton of farms. So eventually he's going to use 1 TC to click up the castle, the other TC is producing, and there's just so much food income, he doesn't know what to do with it. And clearly, he's thinking about that, and he's going to go for scouts. He's going to go for scouts actually much earlier than I was expecting here. And how many lumberjacks do we have? 13. Okay, that's pretty sick. A couple are on stragglers. Usually you have a monastery, but he might actually feel as though he should go for the town centers first because he knows he'll be behind in villagers. So he might go TC, TC, and then go monastery later. Let's find out. Yeah, I agree with you, Baskets. I think the scout edition from Koala is because he's expecting to be castle dropped. But the timing on the castle drop would be right about now. So he's going to look. It's actually a really smart thing, but I had said this the other day. Like, adding these scouts looks great if they actually castle drop, but it just delays your whole plan if they don't. Well, actually, that's true and it's not, because actually, having scouts on the field still gives you value against monks. So I really like this. I would say stop producing scouts now, but once you get to like 4 or 5, you can still click up. Wow, look at this. We have stone mining already. Huh. So it was TC Monastery. I doubt Whitecourt was expecting to see those scouts. It's probably the last thing he was expecting to see, actually. We will see castles. Those castles will be very important. The positioning's insane with the humans if they have some scout presence. I think like a castle here into a fast imp with all that food income that's going to be floating it'd just be wild. Oh my god, the extra speed on the human scout is so helpful here. Wow. Normally, in any other situation, you're going to see that scout get back home and be able to be healed up. Man, this is very good spot for Koala. I mean, the Ville count's going to even out more, right? The numbers are pretty insane right now. But the fact that he's denying so many relics, and he's going to have a good uptime, and he's probably going to be able to build a castle is awesome. Because right now, I just do not think Whitecourt is able to boom out of 3 TCs and make scouts. That's always the difference against humans, is that they can make stuff and also have a Ville lead. Whereas you'll even out the Ville lead, but you won't have as much army. I wouldn't mind the spearman that much if I were sneaky Koala, because 5 scouts can take out 1 spearman, but you know, it depends on the grouping, obviously, and if it's 2 like that, you obviously want to avoid it. Like, Whitecourt's doing a good job to keep everything together. That's a nightmare scenario for me. It's just, they're all run at different speeds. It's just not fun. And wow, okay, so the scouts are going to engage against the monks, and going to get the monks here. Did lose some scouts in the process, but I don't think that's a horrible trade. But I think you can make an argument that both players will be happy with that, especially if Whitecourt kills another scout because of it, and he does. Really good game so far. Now the Vil counts are going to get closer. Oh, we see stable number 2. Yeah, this is going to be more scout production, maybe even knights into a forward castle drop from Koala. That's the way he has to play it. I think a defensive castle does not play towards the strengths of his civ, but man, is Whitecourt defending nicely here. He's killed a lot of these scouts. Look at that food eco. So maybe you don't worry about the relics. Like, the monastery is going to be on the front in most cases. I never think about that, but like, if you're getting the position, you're going to deny the relics, or at least make that whole thing more awkward. This has been a borderline flawless Cumin boom. Normally you can be up faster, but he made lots of scouts, right? Let's see where he places the castle. He's not sending Vils, so it might be defensive. He's got a lot of weak scouts, so maybe he feels like he can't do enough. Monk goes down there. And Spearman and Scout getting attacked over here. Not sure about that one there, Koala. Castle will be at home. So this will maybe... Okay, so I think instead it'll be castle at home. Into enough kip checks to kill the Spearman. Into a fast Imperial Age. Into the next castle forward. And I'm wondering if Whitecourt expects that. I just noticed he's been buying wood. Oh, no, that was food. Was I blind? No, he bought some wood as well. He's been using the market a lot. 16 on food. Man, the Cumin boom is just so crazy. That is going to be relic number 2 for Whitecourt, though. Who I actually think has had a really good game. I think the Spearman edition was really strong. And while he has lost monks, he's made Koala pay for it. The Kipchak is not a great unit in the long term, but it is a really helpful unit in these types of situations. This is all you want to do in this situation is you just want to get the position on the front, drop a castle, and turn this into trebs. Again, a lot of scouts going down to the Spearman, but now there's not a whole lot out on the map. I feel like the idle TC time is somewhat expected of someone in Whitecourt's position who's trying to micro and go 4 TCs. But obviously, it's never going to be as clean as the 2 TC Cumin boom. Like, Cumins get so much food when they play it right. I think the monks will actually be needed to convert kip checks here in a second. Okay. More light cav going down against monks. Okay, this is over the next couple minutes is where the game is decided. I would always die in Whitecourt's position. I feel like this always happens. I catch up in Vils, and then I lose map control, and then I die to a fast imp. I do not know how to stop it. Oh, wait a second. What? Ooh. Well, that changes things a little bit. Bloodlines is coming in for the kip checks, which have 40 base HP. No fletching even on this unit right now, so it's not the strongest. Koala is going to get a relic. If I'm Whitecourt, I just want to delay Koala from moving forward. Which is exactly what he's done here. You just don't want your castle to be denied. I wonder if it's correct to idle your TCs right now if you're Whitecourt. Or at the very least, buy food, sell wood. Just, like, do what you can to click up fast. Great scout activity from him. This has actually been a really good arena game, guys. Will be 3 relics for Koala in the end. Now, the second Koala sees this. He'll want to build his castle in a position where he can treb easily. So most likely here, and the villagers should be on the way. There they are. No fletching even. I'm not sure I like that. Can't you afford fletching, man? Come on. In before, people were like, oh, kip checks are bad. He doesn't even have fletching. You gotta get fletching, man. Does he have a blacksmith yet? He actually might not have a blacksmith at all. Which, I mean, timing is everything sometimes, and timing includes upgrades. I don't know what else he'd go for. He's gonna drop a range, so that's probably for thumb ring. No blacksmith. Watch him go to make a siege workshop and be like, crap, I don't have a blacksmith yet. Blacksmith! There we go. Make 2 of them. You need to catch up. All right. Let's see. So the Kipchaks themselves are going to need to be strong enough to defend the Trebs. But again, it's not just about the Kipchaks. It's about the Kipchaks accompanying the rest of this build order. That is what makes this play strong. Chemistry's coming in. Fletching's coming in. There you go. There's the second blacksmith as well. The good news for Whitecourt is not just the fact that he can research Cavalier and Castle Age, but that allows him to instantly click Paladin when he makes it to Imp. So that's going to be disgusting for him. But he needs to get his armor upgrade, which he's working on. He needs to get a mass going. And I actually think an underrated thing for him here is... Oh, he's doing it. The stone mining upgrade. You need more on stone because you're basically not using this castle to produce. You need to repair this for a long time. So I think Whitecourt has played this game as good as one could maybe ask of the Burgundian player. With the masonry upgrade giving more HP, the stone mining upgrade bringing in stone faster. The eco is now ahead. Let's see how the Kipchaks perform. Clearly, Koala feels like he needs the castle positions to do work for him because he's dropped another castle around these Trebs. And yeah, I would just try and get conscription and hope that that actually comes in. And we even have fortified wall from Whitecourt. I like that move too. Also like how he's adding more houses because he's going to need pop space here shortly. But conscription will not come in here. That's just not going to be achievable. If Koala loses this game, I think we're going to look back at this castle as being unnecessary. I think that if like in this moment, he could be dropping... Oh god, don't let him in. In this moment, if he could be dropping a castle here and then trebbing down everything here, it could be epic. All right. Quite a few villager kills there, obviously. Elite Kipchak on the way. We've got Parthian tactics. Kipchak's low HP, low attack. They fire fast, and they're also freaking cheap. They're really, really, really cheap. That's like, no one wants to talk about how cheap Kipchaks are. I had a game where I had 100 Kipchaks on the field. I didn't even realize it. I was like, why does my eco feel horrible? And then I looked, I was like, 100 Kipchaks? You just don't do that with many mounted unique units. Also produce fairly quick as well. And humans do have halbs. So we're going to see barracks now. But Whitecourt obviously is kind of trying to hide what he's doing. But I think his opponent knows. Because his opponent sees the stables. And now sees the castle too. Here we go. I think you have to take this fight. You do not want to lose that castle. And I think the Kipchaks, without the halb support, are not going to be able to support these trebuchets. So Whitecourt should be able to take them. But do you want to take the Trebs right away? I feel like you want to take the Kipchaks, maybe. I don't know. Well, no. You need to keep your castle up, obviously. So he'll take that out. And he did have to fight before Paladin. Also, I disagree that Kipchak's a crap unit. It's a good unit. It's a unit that you can mass a lot of. And it's excellent with the timings that Cumans offer. It's just, it's unique. It's special. It's a unique unit. The thing that normally doesn't happen for Cumans, though, is they normally don't have 3 relics, right? Like, that's what's so cool about this. Normally, it's your versus 5. So, technically speaking, in late game, you're in the better position now if you're blue. You have access to more stones and golds in the middle. You're denying this gold from your opponent. And we've got 27 Kipchaks, where the number could be much higher. And then you've got halbs in front with good blacksmith upgrades. And hey, he's got double blacksmith now, actually. So he could be stacking blacksmith upgrades. Elite Kipchak also doesn't cost gold, right? I think it costs wood and food. Here we go. Halbs in front, Kipchaks behind. Paladins, they do not get bloodlines with the Burgundians. So they lack a bit of HP compared to other Paladins. They're a little bit squishier. And again, like, Kipchak's insane. And then the halb timing's perfect. Whitecourt is in trouble here. But both of these players are so good. Like, the proper unit to go for if you're Whitecourt is Skirmisher. But will he have the time? Because there's Trebs on the way. Or there's one Treb here already. Took out the monastery. We'll probably move on to the castle. There's so many upgrades that need to be completed for the skirms, and there's just so much more military right now for Sneaky Koala. The leftover monks come out here to mix it up a little bit and take out Paladin, or convert Paladin. The Kipchaks actually shot a Paladin that was going to be converted, which was kind of funny. I think the skirm switch is too late. And then the Cumans also have... well, Burgundians lack the final armor upgrade, which kind of hurts. And then the Cumans also have really good stable units to switch into. This is such a good game from Koala. Holy crap, man. What a ridiculous game. I think Whitecourt played it so well. If he had a different civ, he would have castle dropped him. But he knew that that wouldn't really work well for the Burgundians. But Koala getting 3 relics and then getting these timings down is just crazy. Kipchak Halb, so good. So easy to get to. And slowly but surely, Whitecourt's going to be finished off here, I think. He's not going to be able to take any stone or gold outside. There's 70 army against him. And he won't have a castle to defend himself. He won't be able to click the button, guys. He won't be able to go for revolution. Like, this group of Kipchaks have killed 46 units, and I would say at least 50% of that has been Paladin. And you add up the cost and the time and all those things. Kipchak's a really, really deadly unit. It's why, like, we should probably... A lot of people think Kipchaks are bad. You would have to find a way, if you ever wanted to make Castle Age Kipchak stronger, you would somehow need to find a way to stop humans, the 2TC boom, being good on Arena. Because this play is usually pretty strong. Now, maybe we're starting to curse to the commentator a little bit, right? Because the skirms are holding their own. But I think this tells you everything you need to know. Koala will probably be prepping stables. And that could be the killer blow then. Just needs to make sure that he sits underneath his castles. He's overextending and he's sitting next to the ranges. I think if you sit next to your castles, you're completely fine here. As he's even going to try and ram it on the side. So maybe even Siege Ram could come in, right? Wouldn't mind that too much. We could see Step Husbandry. Is that the name of the tech for Cumans that adds to the extra, I think, extra production speed of the stable line? Or not the stable line, I guess it's actually their Hussars. And actually Cav Archers, which is super random. I think if Burgundians had the final armor on their skirms, it might be a little bit different, but even still, you're seeing with the faster firing speed of the Kipchaks, they're actually trading pretty efficiently here against skirms. And you can toss away a couple gold units when Kipchaks are this cheap, and when you have full map control and you have the relics. Oh, man, Whitecourt's just got to be thinking, oh, God, what could I have done differently? This freaking map, this civ, man. You know, all these things are going through his mind. But he taps out and calls the GG. And, again, that was just a well-executed game there from Koala, who maybe felt like the one thing he couldn't do was allow a castle drop to show up on his face. So he denied that with scouts. Like, if that would have happened, he would have denied that possibility with scouts, right? And then, when it didn't happen, he used those scouts to be competitive with the relics to the point where he ended up getting 3 relics versus 2. And then it was just perfect with the timing and the positioning of the castles. It took out 2 castles from Whitecourt, and Whitecourt was reeling from there. And when you have all that map control, then you're always going to be able to switch into the next unit. I mean, he was taking his time, right? But he would have been able to finish him off with just Cav here in a second. Maybe one fewer town center, as someone said. Like, maybe that was the issue for Whitecourt, but I really think it's just, you have such a timing problem against the Cumans. Maybe we need to credit Koala more for forcing Whitecourt to fight before Paladin, too. That could have been part of it. And sometimes you just lack space. Like, imagine having to make the archer ranges in your base ahead of time if you're Whitecourt. He just didn't have space to move. So he kind of had to make his buildings out here. Anyways, 2 straight wins for Sneaky Koala, which means he needs 1 win of the next 2 games to be able to win the series. And we'll continue trucking along here, but that was a really good game from him. Ooh, Golden Swamp action here. And I think we're going to have different approaches as well. So in the blue, obviously, we've got Sneaky Koala, a.k.a. Bad Koala. He's gone for the Dravidians, which tells me we'll have a heavy water approach. And Whitecourt has gone for a pick that I was in love with in the first season of Titans League, which had Golden Swamp. And we used to see a lot of players actually skip the water with the Britons and go for a little drush at the start. Britons collect a lot of food from the water buffalo, aka sheep, as they have I think it's called a sheep bonus, or maybe it's a shepherd bonus. I think that's it. And the shepherds collect the, well, it doesn't say shepherd here. I thought it said something like that, but anyways, they collect the water buffalo faster, and there's a lot of food with the water buffalo on this map, combined with the 2 elephants, combined with the berries and the deer, and then also any fishes in the middle. But if there's fishing ships, you could still use the scout and the militia to disrupt it. But then again, if you skip the middle and feudal age onwards, there could be a lot of navy there, and that could lead to you missing out on this gold if they get enough range, missing out on the gold in the middle, and fishing ships aren't too bad to have either. So I think we're going to see a difference of approach, but maybe Whitecourt will choose to dock anyways. But sneaky Koala needs one more win, and he moves on to gold. Now, Whitecourt obviously has the talent. These have been really close games, so I could see him tying it up here. Well, they're not called... At least the old tech tree didn't say herdable. So I don't think it says that the Britons have a herdable bonus. I think it just says shepherds work faster. Actually, hold on. I actually have the old tech tree on my little shelf behind me. 1 second. Okay. Let's unfold this bad boy. Shepherds work 25% faster. Now, this was in 98 or 99. I actually don't think it's 25% anymore. I thought it was 20%, but I could be wrong on that. The Britons have pretty much remained untouched, though. There haven't been many tweaks with this civ. Like, I think Town Center's 50% off is still the case, which is insane. Archer range is 20% faster is still the case. Foot Archers +1 range in Castle, +1 range in Imp is also still the case. So it went from 25% to 20% is what Cal is saying. And then Chicken McFly is saying it is 25%. Okay, well, anyways, I can't show you guys this thing right now because I look like a complete bum. Also, I do not have pants on at the moment. So had I gotten up, you would have seen the wrong end. But, you know, life of a streamer, right? I just felt like streaming in my boxers today, so I could do that. Working from home, you know, I'm sure you guys can relate if you work from home. But yeah, I've got this thing, and it's pretty freaking cool. Obviously, it doesn't have any of the new civilizations. But it's just so detailed, man. Like, it's amazing that they used to give this thing out. Like, they must have made millions of copies of this thing. Anyways, Koala's also not going for fish. And he has scouted that Whitecourt's not going for fish. And Whitecourt has scouted that Koala's not going for fish. So both players on point with their scouting. And this could easily be Drush Fast Castle from here. You don't see that every day in the 2022 meta. About to be 2023 meta. Happy New Year's, everybody. But especially if you win the militia battle, I think it's worth it. And that's going to happen here. Oh, Koala. Oh, Koala. Oh, wait. What? Ooh, that's never good. You never want to be chasing here. I thought he could have gotten in front of it and pushed Koala home. All right. There's a villager here that could be killed by the scout. Mandatum. And Scout really should be getting some hits here to at least force Koala to turn around. And that villager might need to be quick walled in for a second. And Koala is just happy that this army from the opponent is not going towards his base right now. Obviously, it will eventually. And yep, there he turns around for the scout. And then Whitecourt turns around. Very well played. And you just kind of repeat that cycle over and over again, I think. But Loom's on the way for Koala. Both civs could get away with some pretty crazy fast castle strats and build orders. And, oh, this is a miss micro here from Whitecourt. Oh, sheesh, man. He didn't kill the scout. He didn't kill the militia. So he's lost 2 units. He was paranoid, I think, that something would come in. And he could lose a villager here. He's got no loom. And that's something that Koala's going to love. Koala's up to the next stage. And the reason I say Dravidians can have some pretty cool fast castles. Also, I don't know if I said hello to ducks today, so hello ducks. But hello to nobody else. I don't care about you. But anyways, it's because of the plus 200 wood. So he's actually got obnoxious amounts on wood, probably because he wants to fish. But you don't actually need to have that much on wood with that Civ, because the plus 200 wood. Hello, Chicken McFly. Hello, Smallhead, who's been in chat. Now, I have never streamed fully in the nude. That's the fact you definitely wanted to hear today. I've never done that. I oftentimes stream in various states of undress because I can. Or also because it gets warm in my room, you know? But, wow, double dock from Koala. It's an interesting approach. It's not a fast castle play from him. And Whitecourt's going to see this. It's not bad for Foodieco, right? It definitely helps. And we're going to see an archer range 2, which will probably lead into some archers, combined with some war galleys. I would be really confused about this if I were Whitecourt. Because if you start to add docks, you won't be able to make archers. So I think it's something that I need to think of more, and I think that players probably think of more than I do when they're in the game. It's always hard when you're in the game. Is just play towards your strength, stick to your plan. Play towards your strength, stick to your plan, which is probably going to be archers. Stable? Whoa, okay, so stable. And then, actually don't mind that play, but then maybe town centers as they're so cheap with the Britons later on. All right. What he means is I've never streamed fully in the nude yet. I mean, I haven't made my New Year's resolutions yet. I mean, I'm looking to be a changed man in 2023. That's all I'm saying. Hey, Loom comes in now. All right. Probably a good time for that upgrade. And horse collar for some food eco from the farms. And yeah, just a couple fires patrolling around for sneaky Koala. JBR, are you going to be around for the next series, by the way? Like, are you going to be watching, or... JBR really putting him to work here. You know, he needs to be here every single second, I said. He needs to compliment my casting every 5 minutes. This is why we pay him the big bucks. If you are, let me know. I think it might make sense actually to send games 1 by 1 for the next series. But obviously no obligation like we had originally planned. Ooh, this is cool. So Whitecourt's trying to sneak the dock. He didn't hit that. And there he goes. Okay, so he's... the reason I like the knights is because archers are kind of rendered useless by the navy. But 2 or 3 knights combined with a couple fire galleys gets you right back on water. Oh, man. If Sneaky Koala would have spotted that, it would have so easily been denied. But it's Whitecourt being the sneaky one. The sneaky court over here. That was not my best joke, but yeah. And, you know, you might expect if you're Koala that it's just going to be 3 town center booming behind here because TCs are so cheap as the Britons. But he's probably feeling good about life. Good news for him, obviously, is his eco is flying. He'll be up to Castle Age. Probably could have been up to Castle Age faster. But I think now he sees the stable and he's like, what? Also, look at this, man. It still hasn't been spotted. I'm a little uncertain on what Whitecourt's going to be able to afford because he's trying to go town centers, knights, and navy. But having even just feudal age navy with the knights over the next couple minutes wouldn't be too bad. And here he pulls over for this villager. I don't think Koala has noticed that. He's probably more focused on this. And maybe on this. And okay, he's noticed now. There's actually a demo coming out of this dock. The timing could be epic here. I think if I could, I would go for the archers and the ships. But choose the ships over the archers if I could! Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that was an epic demo. And then the knight gets away too. Dang. That was a nifty little play. Like, talk about making the most of your units there. Great timing. You don't see that every day. And now a new knight shows up here as well. This knight is going to have to get the fire ship in the back because of the quick little micro there from Koala. But yet again, Whitecourt trying to keep the ship alive here. And he is still on 3 TCs. He's adding his third now, and the repair even. Oh, my goodness. Save the ship. Oh, sad times. Well, it's still been really good play with just so few units. What do they say? Or what do I say? The best of the best. They always get max value from low numbers of units. That's been Whitecourt so far. However, there's still 3 docks for Sneaky Koala. He's still going to be prioritizing Navy. And I think he can catch up in the economy, no problem. Obviously, he's got 0 farms right now. So he's relied mainly on fishing ships and berries. He'll need to transition into those farms. But there's town center number 2. There's town center number 3. And good for him that he actually is getting that town center up. I didn't realize that his main gold was so close to the water there. Also, John, thank you very much for the stars earlier. Thanks for the hype. Everyone else as well, and interest in TTL so far. Happy New Year. Okay, water upgrades have come in, and we're actually... I don't mind this move. We're actually going to see the 3rd town center from Koala go up in the middle. I think I like this a lot. I think gold TC in the middle, other TC be like wood and stone, because you eventually will want a castle. You notice that Whitecourt is already bringing in some stone. That could be for the super greedy 4 TC boom. But 4 TC boom into what is the question. And remember in the previous game, some people questioned maybe the 4th TC was a bit much. Maybe he needed to invest more into the army. Completely different situation, obviously. But, I mean, still, I think Koala's not going to be feeling too bad about the control that he has. And he's getting the relics. That seems to be something that he does really early. What would you do here if you're Whitecourt? I mean, I think it'd be really cool if you went for a couple knights and a castle drop on the side of Koala's base. You could also just play straightforward, and you could go for a castle on the shoreline and eventually dock and come back on the water. That knight's going to take a fishing ship out. Again, yet again from Whitecourt. Just getting some value, but loses the knight. Still a villager on this side from Whitecourt. He still wants to make knights. And there is the 4th town center. Okay, so big old land boom here. And yeah, a lot of players will get wheelbarrow once they added the 4th TC. So they have 3 TCs working. They might not be as particular about it as I've just implied. But Zilverdog, you're spot on. I think wheelbarrow will come in here shortly. Off of a boom build, you don't see it as early as like a scout build or something, right? Because you don't have farms as quickly. We'll probably see it shortly. Though I forget about it all the time with the Britons. So, who knows, man? Who knows? 2 relics so far for blue. Let's see. Has he ventured down here yet? It's kind of headed over here right now. I was just wondering if this villager would be spotted. There's a relic right against the edge of the map there. And yep, there we go. We've got the wheelbarrow upgrade coming in. All right, chat. What do you think about this strategy? Also, look at that bait from Whitecourt. Oh, he is locked in right now. He's doing some cool stuff here. Baited all those ships so he could get his demos somewhere. I think he's going for the fish. He knows the fish are here. He's looking. He's looking. He's looking. He's looking. He's looking. Ah, come on, man. He's looking. Looking for fish. Hey. Oh, that's it. That's it. That's what you want. Ah, multitasking is hard, man. Okay. Well, that was actually horrible. Oh, he did all the fancy things. But he was too busy adding farms. Life of a farmer. Does Koala have a blacksmith? Yes, he does. They both need to get imp here. I was going to say, what do you think about castle here. And then going like knights on the side of Whitecourt's, of Koala's base. Does anyone ever expect Britain Cavalier? I think that would be epic. Cavalier and Navy, or even just light cav and Navy. Speaking of stable units, we have a stable for Koala. This Civ doesn't get knights, so that's a little interesting. As we have one more relic left on the map, by the way. That relic is not going to be... Oh, it will be seen by this outpost. Right there on the edge. Food being purchased by Koala. It's just like the previous game. Koala's going to have a pretty sick imp timing. Will come down to castles and trebs, but this boom, man, that 4th TC, it's obviously given yellow a big lead. The castle will go up here too, but yellow needs to get imp here shortly. Yellow's also been producing scouts because he's worried about the monks that are around. That's more food investment into this age, right? I mean, all this said, it's going to be 36 farms versus 20. But how much food eco do you realistically need if you want to go trebs and navy? Which is what I think we should see here from both players. Maybe we shouldn't see it to the same extent from yellow, like because of this food eco. But he needs to be desperate for the Imperial Age right now, because this is a target. If blue knew about this, blue would target that and drop a castle here. I heard a conversion happen. I'm not sure exactly what it was. It might have been a ship or something. Also, blue is scouting for that other relic. Looking over here and finding outposts. Still can't find the relic, but must know that there's a villager around here and might see her. Castle position's important here for Koala. And he's going to drop it right smack there, dab in the middle. We'll obviously want to open up with a trebuchet. As yellow's adding more docks now. And I still hear random conversions. It must be the villagers and whatever units are all around here on the sides. Ultimately kind of unimportant though. And scout v scout in the north. Koala wins that fight. Koala will also win this fight. So I guess Koala just added a few of his own scouts. Is there any way to watch the stream on the phone and keep using the other page? Yeah, at the bottom right of the app, you can click kind of like your icon, I guess. And you could toggle over to your page. And then it should default to that every time. Can be a little janky, but that's how it works. Do Britons get fast fire? I feel like they don't. I mean, normally you see fast fire opening into War Galley. By the way, Sneaky Koala didn't scout this until now, which is like so bad. The fact he doesn't know this castle's here is huge. I mean, ultimately, I think he's doing the right things, but I'm not sure about the whole crossbow play. Because that can get neutralized by Navy. We're seeing fires, and we're seeing galleons right now from Koala, who hasn't clicked Bracer yet, but is still ahead in the numbers here. And, oh, crossbows go down to a demo. This is what I mean. It's got to be Navy. Like, at least the lesson was learned with 5 crossbows. I still think he's got all the momentum here. He should just be going directly for the castles, though, not the docks. Docks are ultimately going to be helpful, but... Okay. Stone count's also really low for both players. There's stone in their bases, but they're not really taking it much. And it's a close game with population, but it's definitely all Sneaky Koala when it comes to the army numbers right now, and the army mass. Or I guess we should say Navy. Now, there is some army, too. Fast fire's on the way for Britons. That's the key here. Typically, it's fast fire as a buffer, and then the galleon play behind it. But Koala is getting galleon, but he doesn't have Bracer. He doesn't have Bracer. I've seen that once before on this map. Demo comes in here from yellow. Now he's got fast fire. Those demos are actually not horrible. But still, Whitecourt seems to be just struggling with the numbers on water. His docks getting Treb down might have actually been the play. Most players would have gone for the castle, which would have allowed Whitecourt to continue to produce. And now he's scrambling up more and more docks. I actually love the fact that Sneaky Koala went for the docks. I don't know if it's as good as taking out the castle for other reasons, but it seems to have worked really well for him. And clearly that was a strategy choice because he never fixed it. So he never saw that as a problem. There's Bracer, by the way. There's Fast Fire. There's more docks in the south for Whitecourt. There's more docks in the north. But he's trying to group it all up in this spot to somehow hit Trebs. Can he do it? Well, the answer is with Fast Fires, yes, actually. Because Blue only has... Well, he has 0 Fast Fires with 6 in queue. He's like, oh my god, Galleon was a mistake. Am I losing this game? Are we going to go to a game 5? Oh, and the eco too, guys. The eco has to be paying off right now for Whitecourt. He's got so many more villagers. He's going to go above 150 here. And so just like that, Koala went from a good position to a poor position. And what a great job from Whitecourt. I love how he was building docks in both locations. I love how he stuck with the fast fire choice. He didn't get baited into Galleon himself. And now he has the Treb waiting. The only thing he's really missing in my eyes is immediate castle here. So it's like you clear it up, you push his Trebs back, and then you have 3 or 4 Trebs, bring it here, castle it, secure it, and push. Koala still has tons of gold in the middle, and Koala still has a Treb there, and Koala's going to make some more. So Koala's not finished. Koala now 13 fast fires. It's only 7. This castle here had 5 kills. This castle here had 3. And obviously, they probably had a lot of assists, right? So the castle fire really helped. And so Bracer and Ballistics at least paid off with that. Sorry for all the dinging, by the way. I hope you're enjoying this. This stream is sponsored by Ding, where you can get an alert every time your dock produces a ship. And anytime you click a ship of any kind, because they all ding constantly. Cab upgrades here for Whitecourt. No way. He doesn't have stables yet, so I think we should... Yeah, it's mainly going to be for side raids. Heavy demo is pretty massive. Also, Warwolf could be a really helpful upgrade. Look at how many docks he has. 8 there. Oh, I guess he's only going to have 10. He does still have more than Blue, though. There's Warwolf, which will help those Trebs. Let's see, are there any demos hiding in here? There are. The first time you release a heavy demo is the best time, because they don't know it's coming yet. They're expecting just fires. Oh boy, we could see some big booms, baby. And the Trebs are waiting. We got demos on this side. That's helpful, but the demos from here is what I really want to see. And there they come. Big demo shots, and this is the opportunity now for Whitecourt to make his move. He's still way behind in Navy numbers, though, which is crazy. But I still think a castle here with the Trebs is what you do here. You know, the Galleons are chipping away at these fast fires. This is that combination that we had spoke of earlier. Also, the Galleons can help get the demos. The demos really need to clear out the fires from the equation. Oh, man. Whitecourt's so nervous right now, I bet. And he is going to raid from the stables, too. So he's worried about that. Both players are still creating villagers, by the way. I love this castle. I think it's so worth it. If you get Bracer, I think this is so worth it. I also love the... Oh, demo. Okay. I love this castle from Blue because it cuts off the grouping of Whitecourt. But it also could be a target for the Trebs. And suddenly, there's no fast fires in front for Koala. Koala's also going to get raided. He doesn't realize this. They're just scouts, guys, but they have upgrades. They will kill villagers. And he could lose everything in the middle. Things looked so awkward for Whitecourt after it was initially very positive for him. But he has his Trebs. And he will have his castle. And he denies this castle. Kills all the villagers. And if this castle's up, how does Blue ever approach this area? Also, no stone income for Sneaky Koala. 0. 170 population for both. Maybe this castle will complete, actually. Okay, this just got a whole lot more awkward. Well, what do you even do with your new ships now? I guess you just have to YOLO it. You need new docks over here if you're yellow. Okay. The raids are still very much paying off here for Whitecourt, and he's going to raid the other side. Blue is more population exposed, let's just put it that way. And it feels like the Britain Trebs should be able to deal with this castle. And then maybe Light Cav can run to the middle as well. Whitecourt has just enough gold. He doesn't have a lot of gold. He's got just enough gold remaining. It's going to be really tough for blue to keep up with both sides. Great job from Whitecourt to add stables on both sides, too. The fact that he did that and everything else just shows how freaking sick he is as a player. And what a series, man. I'm getting the classic feelings of, man, I don't want one of these players to not be able to go to gold. You know, I don't want one of these players to lose this series. I get that when I cast a lot and the sets are this close, but I always want game 5. And so it seems like we're destined to get there. 29 fast fires for Whitecourt. You've got 11 fires and 3 galleons for Koala. There's no way Koala holds the middle. He's getting raided to death. There's stables in his base, and we have our game 5. What a game. What a series. One more game to decide who moves on and who goes into the Gold League. And, well, I mean, it's kind of difficult for me to sum this one up beyond saying that Koala had the time. If you think of the arena game, he had that timing, right? It was only 90 seconds faster to Imp, but he had a castle. He had the time. And I think the mistake from him here was underestimating how good Fast Fire can be and trying to switch into Galleon. If you go right about to, I think it would be here, look what he's making. He's made crossbows, which he quickly decided was not a good move. And he's making, he made galleons. And so I think if he goes full Fast Fire, I don't know if heavy demo is ever possible. And I think that he's going to be able to overwhelm Whitecourt. Because remember, there was a period where he trebbed down like 5 docks. And I was like, wow, the production's going to be so much better. This is insane. This is insane. This is insane. But either he didn't have enough docks of his own, which could have been part of it, or it was just that he had the wrong units. Because I think if you go here, where was it? Man, this is an awkward situation. Still producing war galleys, right? So I think he just went for the wrong unit. And I don't think fast fires are the only thing you have to make, but they're certainly the first thing you have to make there if you want to play it safe. Really good game, though. I mean, you can't take anything away from Whitecourt, who boomed his way into that one. Had to really scrap a victory out there when he didn't take any gold in the middle the entire game. Like, he was almost out of gold. He had this, and then he had the 2 relics, and that was it. So to push someone out of the middle when they've taken that much gold isn't easy. He did it. I forget what the final map is, but I hope it's something crazy. I hope we get, like, well, we already had Houseboat. So, Ravines, maybe? And have, like, a 3-hour marathon, game 5? So, I wonder what Whitecourt was expecting Sneaky Koala to pick here in game 5. Whitecourt has gone for the Berbers. The Berbers, notorious for being a good counter to the Mongols, which is exactly what we have from Sneaky Koala. Now, it's not that simple. Mongols have crazy time windows here, but if it makes it to Castle Age, the Berbers seem to always have the options to the Mongols. They have the cheaper stable units, which can compete in the mid-game against things like Steppe Lancers, Knights, and Camels from Mongols. They get more upgrades on those units throughout the course of the game, too, so stable units is definitely an advantage there for Berbers. And then they have the Camel Archer, which is top tier against any Cav Archer unit, including the Mangadai, which is the unique unit from the Mongols. But do not underestimate the things you can do with the faster food income, which is what Sneaky Koala is going for right now. And obviously on a map like this, it might not go late. So Whitecourt is going to have to survive the first like 20 minutes, not be behind in Feudal and behind in Castle, and then you start to have that conversation of, is Berbers just the better Civ here? So it's been the longest series, actually, of all the best of 5s, I think. I don't think we've had a single one go over 2 hours yet. I think one was close, but we've had some doozies. And I hope people have enjoyed it so far. As always, the interest has been sick. Particularly, it's been motivating to upload things to a second YouTube channel and see all the views and comments there, too. I do pay attention to that, believe it or not, so thank you guys for doing that. You know, I had for years, it was just so tricky for me to figure out how I would handle all my content, because even though there's more content now than ever, there was still a lot of content, and I realized it was quite bad to, like, spam tournament sets to the main channel. And, you know, there are times where, let's say there's let's say there's, like, 4 group stage sets, 2 of them are bangers, and then 2 of them are just duds. And so then I upload the 2 bangers, and then people are like, well, where are the other 2? And so it was just really hard for me to figure it out. And now that, you know, I've been able to bring on Hardy full time, and we've been able to improve a lot of things. Zebra, cooperate, double push, the Mongol dream, let's go. It's funny how we have that, and people like Doubt can't even push 1. But anyways, we've been managing another channel now, and it's been working way better than I expected. Like, I don't know if it's a YouTube algorithm or just people watch the channel a lot and don't subscribe, but the subscriber count's been good. The viewership's been good for all this stuff. And I'm especially happy that people realize there can be freaking epic games and awesome sets and things to get excited for if it's not tied to the same, like, 10 or 15 names. I'm not saying that that's bad for the game. Obviously, you want our biggest stars to compete, and I'd love to cast them too. So let's not get that twisted. But there's always been all this quality, and that's been one of my passions over the years, is telling you guys about said quality that you might not have heard about. Sneaky Koala forgot a mill. Sneaky Koala forgot a mill. All this quality, and this is, what, the 3rd time I've seen this in the last couple weeks? I've been there. I've done that. Just Mongol things. You get the food, and then you forget your second building. But he is up. It's going to be an 18 population scout rush from him. And you're definitely right. It does seem like Blue has a few more woodlines around his base here, Adam. But also feels like he has more hills. And Whitecourt's answer to how you deal with the Mongols is just full wall your base. On a map that's supposed to be really aggressive. I've seen it before. And I believe he's going to be able to complete these walls in time. Really important you get the timing right, because that starting scout's going to be looking for you, and the starting scout will be in feudal and ready to kill Vils. So, quality. Yes, quality builds bring me biscuits. So, I personally love the 1 lumber camp approach with the Mongols. I see a lot of people try and go 2 lumber camps, and then they just can't afford the stable right away. So, there's that. Also, these trees have 200 wood or 150 wood, depending on the type of tree, right? Yeah, acacia's 150, baobab, and, well, they're all baobab trees. The trunk just gets like 3 times bigger when you chop it, thanks to E, but, I guess, actually, that's probably because it's a small tree mod, but there's no small stump mod. I think that's why it does that. But anyways, not too worried about that. He's going to afford the stable right away. My point is that 1 lumber camp on these types of woodlines is actually fairly efficient compared to others. But dang, dude, I would be so annoyed if I was Koala. Like, first off, it's game 5, and he can't even find his opponent. So he has no clue. And then when he finds him, and the reason he can't find him is probably because the pathing's weird because of the walls. Now he's just going to be like, are you kidding me? Is this real life? Full wall? And so what's he going to do? Well, he's going to wall up as well, because eventually his opponent will make a counter army. And it could be scouts from Whitecourt as well. But yeah, I think still making 3 scouts and adapting is completely fine here. We are going to see very early gold for Koala, though. Which tells me he might want to switch into archers at some stage, which will be fun to look for. Wood upgrade, farm upgrade for both players. The setup should be pretty good for Whitecourt to be able to farm, because I don't think he's going to try and go for a range. Now, if you add to range now, you're neglecting farms for a bit, but you also still have goats. And yeah, Koala, he wants those scouts to be able to break in. He wants to be able to disrupt that wood line there. And he sees that spearman, and that's pretty sloppy from Whitecourt. To move out with just 1 spearman like that and lose it. I mean, didn't even gain a scout kill. It would have been better for him to maybe hold on to that spearman, because now he's going to need to add 1 more. But, I mean, he doesn't need the spearman to move out. He doesn't need the spearman to defend either. He can just kind of avoid that, but I think he's going to... Him seeing this range here is really important. I just don't know exactly what you do. Because you're making scouts, so you obviously, want to catch up in scout numbers. I guess you can just delay until you have 5 scouts. But that should tell you that archers are going to be on the way. Both players having some awkward eco problems. Speaking of awkward, look at the way the walls are going up for Koala. That's a new one, but it does protect his gold and his lumberjacks. It's just everything else is kind of cut off. And there's the blacksmith as well from him. But yeah, if you want to get fletching, that's 100 food and 50 golds, which means you're probably not going to produce another scout. And on the other side, we already have 4 scouts, soon to be 5 for Whitecourt, and they'll be full HP. So I'm not sure, like, at the expense of your farming eco, I'm not sure if this will be worth it or not. Obviously, for Koala, he wants to end this game as quickly as possible because the Berbers seem like the stronger civilization going on. Long term. And actually, now he's adding another scout, and I'm starting to like it a little bit more. What about bloodlines here? Like, he just doesn't know what his opponent's doing. I think he'll be okay. He's got good scout numbers. There's actually a lot of spearmen, though. And Koala needs to send that archer away if he can. Oh, boy. Okay. I've been in these types of fights before, and it's really awkward to micro the archers. Oh! Oh, pain! What did I do to him? Oh, my God! I didn't mean that awkward. Oh, shoot. Well, advantage Whitecourt, then. Whitecourt is going to fly from here, man. He's got clean farming eco. He'll have 8 stable units versus 6. The fletching upgrade and the archer numbers and, you know, the expense. And again, that's mainly the eco expense because you're delaying certain things like farms. That hasn't been worth it now. That was a rough moment there for Koala. I'm guessing that was a control group problem combined with a misclick, combined with a brain fart. I don't know, but you know, if it was 2 spearmen, it's different. But when you don't have scout upgrades there, you don't really know how to feel. Now, this walling is getting interesting now, right? Because Whitecourt, I want Whitecourt to try to run under the TC and realize he can't. Some players will be like, oh, you're walling towards the TC. Let me run in. I think he actually just realized there that he cannot run in. So that wall actually is looking pretty good now. And now the scouts and now the archers are over here. And we have armor now on the scouts for Whitecourt, but he might even need to think about upgrades beyond that. Like, bloodlines could be really good. And who knows, like maybe even a second stable. Whitecourt's coming home now. Great job from Koala to just turn around and go forward, right? Like, that was a bad fight. You don't want to react. The walling's looking great. Would love to see the bloodlines upgrade come in. You know your opponent has a lot of scouts, and there it is. Bloodlines even attack. I would just... The archers are going to offer enough against any spearmen and against any vills. You just need your scouts to carry you home here. I don't think Whitecourt's going to fight before bloodlines. Oh, man. I'm going to look at this from Koala's point of view. He doesn't see any of this yet. Whitecourt's being so patient. He's lurking in the shadows. Look at that. And he gets 2 free kills because of it. But he also kind of needs to engage against this right now because the units could run into his base. Oh, man, that's funny. Oh, boy. Okay. Awkward. 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 Oh, he deletes it. Well, we see the fight taken here. Bloodlines for both, obviously, right? And armor's in for Whitecourt. A little surprised he deleted that because it would have given Blue an opportunity to run in. And we see the fight continuing to be taken here. And I guess he really felt like the archers weren't going to be able to be hit by his own units. And that ends up being a pretty close fight at the end of the day. I'm actually surprised that Koala got as good of a trade as he did in that situation. I probably would need to rewind to touch on it, but I'm guessing that the spearman went down awfully quick to those archers, and that was sneaky Koala kind of redeeming himself from that earlier miss micro. Behind this, he adds 2 stables, and he's clearly thinking about Castle Age. But I think we're going to see the same from Whitecourt, and we'll see if Whitecourt can maybe use these additional scouts to his advantage and get a few kills here. And just like that, there's the villager kill. It should be anyways. There you go. But that probably is the end of it unless... Oh, he double-clicked all of his eco! Ah! Oh, God, I feel so bad. Why do I feel so bad? Ugh. Whew. Okay, deep breaths. Game 5, double-clicked all of his eco. He had to fix it really quick. You can disable that, by the way. I've done that enough times to tilt myself out of my mind, so I disabled double-clicking on vills because it only takes once to ruin your game. Somehow it wasn't too bad. I saw the gold villagers and all the farmers move to the same spot for a second. He's going to have 3 stables against the Berbers. Does he go knights? Does he go camels? Does he go step lancers? And does he add town centers? Does he try and boom? I prefer Whitecourt's position here. He's killed a villager. He's got the cheaper stable units, and he even has more leftover scouts. And I actually love this move. He also has more upgrades, too. He has forging coming in. He also has armor. But here he is deciding... Is there a hole there? There is a hole there. Oh, my God. I would have preferred that we see Whitecourt continue to attack the stable there. I think realistically you could maybe force some repairs, but you also could force house falling over here. I'm freaking out right now because of the pressure of this situation. Let's look at resources collected real quick. Slightly higher in everything for Whitecourt, but Whitecourt has collected more food and more wood, which feels ideal if you want to get into upgrades and eco, and also things like booming. As Koala will open step lancers, Mongol step lancers, okay. These things have more HP than other step lancers. And we'll see a monastery here for Koala, who's having a rough time with the pathing over here. Also seeing a second town center. Now, the thing about step lancers is that they don't cost as much gold. And they also hit from one tile away, but they are worse off with attack. They're also worse off with armor against, you know, pretty much every type of fight. But I think it's how they fight that allows them to get good engagements. And I think in combination with monks, step lancer monk could actually be pretty cool. And also, if they get into your eco, they're going to kill eco much faster than majority of units will. Let's see how this goes. Like, that's fully armored camels, dude. Step lancers with Mongols especially are very strong. Okay. Still looking for damage. Whitecourt reacting to this, realizing if there's ever a mistake, this could cost him the game in the series. Monks are like randomly there, so that's something to pay attention to. The scouts are attacking the walls there. The step lancer's trying to flee on this side, and Koala has got a nice little eco lead for himself. And you see how the camels bump, guys? With the pathing this game has, the step lancers can actually take really nice fights. But I think you have to, what you want to do is you want to fight and stop. Fight and stop. Fight and stop. Because the other units need to repath and regroup. Where the step lancers don't really have to do that. It's obviously easier said than done. But considering he didn't have any blacksmith upgrades, the fact that the step lancers have done as well as they have is pretty insane. Even these choke points, the step lancers could excel. But we've got 7 knights, 4 camels. I think keeping those scouts alive is a must here for Whitecourt. What he doesn't know is that there's so many monks out. And, oh, he doesn't react just in time. And he loses a camel to a conversion. He's going to lose a knight, too. That should be, like, really fast. He does lose a knight. But we'll see what's left over because there's quite a few units here. Another knight goes in. Will another knight get converted? No. It felt like Koala deserved a conversion on that one, but monks, man, you can't predict them. You never know if God's going to be on your side on any given day. And, well, even though that eco lead is there for Koala, Koala is really struggling with units now. He's going to go for his own camels. Monks was a good idea. I don't think it was a bad idea at all. Right now, he's basically trying to buy time until he can get a castle up. There's a monk behind here going for a conversion. Monk should get it. I mean, come on, man. What's happening there? There we go. Oh, and the knights got in here! And Koala just noticed it. And he's going to re-wall it, but that doesn't make life any easier for him. Oh, that's bad. And also, units could run in here at the same time, and this is all when he needs to drop a castle. Oof. Things are flying right now for Whitecourt. Remember, Whitecourt was down 2-1 in this series. And, well, he was behind in the previous game, and he brought it back. I think he's ahead now. 6-0 Eco KD for him. And the longer this game goes, the better I like, the more I like the Berbers. All that said, he's full commit on knights. So camels and Mangudai and monks, all those things. I mean, it's a big combination of units. It's really hard to work out, but it could push back the knights, and then there will be a world where Whitecourt's going to have to... He starts to lose fights. He's going to have to desperately drop a castle, and then it takes time for the camel archers. I'm looking at this stone. It feels like this would be a good TC spot for him. That's crazy knight numbers, and Whitecourt is still behind in villagers. So I just noticed Koala is kind of running out of safe wood, but also running out of some safe gold right now. No Bod Canero for him either. So, I mean, the Mangudai are not going to be all that strong. And I bet you if Whitecourt saw the villagers coming out to gold, that he would go over there. He did actually see the mining camp foundation, but he does have to do other things. I'm sure you guys know this, but just want to remind you that this game's kind of hard. And you got to be doing different things all the time. And, oh, God, the villagers for Sneaky Koala running away. That's painful, man. He still, like, has gold. It still is okay food eco, but you don't have any bonuses you're working with as the Mongols anymore. Whereas Berbers still have faster villagers, they still have cheaper stable units, and all those things are helping out a lot right now. And for Koala, as much as he would like to stop the opponent from getting the camel archers, he has to get to a mass first. He's in full defensive mode. He can't really move out. I think he desperately wants another town center. And it's just crazy, crazy knight numbers here from Whitecourt. He's not stopping. Those 3 stables are producing all the time. He's also heading to stone now. He's going to stack houses in the back so he doesn't get pop capped. And it's just all about numbers here. And he's going to dominate this fight. He's got way too much for blue to deal with. And what you don't want to do if you're Koala is sit back behind your TC, because then you give up all this control. And you kind of let Whitecourt take advantage of the situation. So you have to act like you can take good fights. You have to try and hold the hill, but this has not worked out at all. And this is awful for him. The majority of the monks had gone down as they ran back to the TC. The Mangudai mass isn't quite there yet. And if Whitecourt could just get back here, this could end the game. He needs to look and see where his opponent's taking wood. Oh, man, that camel, though. that one camel being there is just insane. Now, we know if Whitecourt went 5 knights on this side and 5 knights on this side, that he would have killed a lot of villagers. Does he know that? Is he thinking about that? Something Koala's done amazingly well in this game is he's sneaky, but he counterattacks when his opponent is in a position to kill him, which he's trying to do with the Mangudai now. And, like, look at this. It's like he knew that he needed to get this TC up, so he has that at the proper time. And who knows what these villagers will find, but if they find the gold, that'd be awesome for him. TC or not, villagers are still going to go down, though. And now Whitecourt's going to take a villager lead, and he certainly has an efficiency lead. Like, his villagers have just been working the entire time. And, oh! Shh. Be very, very silent here, villagers. Kill the lion, but muffle the cries. Okay, you do not want that knight to find you. Oh, God, these knights came in as well. It's so worth it to lose these knights, too, by the way. For killing that many villagers, especially stone miners that probably have stone in their hands, so worth it. He doesn't expect this to be an issue right now, Sneaky Koala. He's now down to 70 vills. Has only 7 Mangudai, and he's desperate. Villagers have killed the lion. They're on wood now, something Whitecourt I don't think he's seen anyways. Did he spot that? Nope. Somehow didn't. He knows the deal. He knows what's up. He knows he has the lead. He knows he just needs to continue to control the map. He is on 3 town centers now. And there's gold and wood back here. And obviously that's safe farming eco. I think it took him a moment, but he's finally back into thinking I need to be aggressive here. And keep switching sides. And he's going to take a fight that I actually don't mind here. Well, actually, like, I think all monks got a conversion there. So I take that back. And that is a lot of pikemen. Mangudai and TC Fire will help with these knights. Here you've got knights taking a fight against pikemen. This is more along the lines of what I expected. Because the pikemen only have one upgrade. And knights can 1v1 a pikeman. And the numbers are really high for the knights. So, actually, the pikemen are going to struggle. 36-0 eco KD as we have a castle right there on the hill. At Whitecourt, I mean, he loses knights. He just makes 13 more knights. His eco is amazing. All 4 of his stables, soon 5 of his stables, soon 6 of his stables are producing. This castle feels like a must-have right now for Koala. A second castle in general will help so much with the Mangudai production. He's going to finish that. It feels like he's barely hanging on. If Whitecourt finds this... Oh my god, he's sitting on the gold. If he finds this, then that could end the game. I actually think what's going to happen is... Oh, Koala doesn't see the gold. Okay, I was going to say Koala would take it if he saw it. But he does have this gold for now, and he's also going to run over to this gold. No golden come. That's been changed. 89 villagers versus 100. This might be one of the few times I would suggest the high-level player research murder holes. Because the night production's not stopping for Whitecourt. This is insane. But, I mean, just with outposting, he should see all the exposed areas of the economy that he could hit with these knights. It's only 11 Mangudai. And we'll see Imp for Whitecourt. Imp will never come in here for Koala. I think Imp leads to Trebs, which leads to solving the castle problem. The Mangudai themselves aren't even a problem right now. It's just the castle fire. And there's Imp for Whitecourt. Won the first game, lost 2 straight. Put himself in a situation where he would have had to win 2 straight to make it to gold. And one of the many great Chilean players that played in this qualifier is in the driver's seat now to finish this off, move on to gold. And then I think he's good enough, as all of them are, to stay up in gold and maybe even move on to platinum for the next season. Like, just a really talented player here. Yeah, this would obviously be 10 or so kills, which might happen soon, but even if it doesn't, an eco lead, an army lead, a positional lead right now for Whitecourt, who has all 4, well, I say all 4, I think there should be 5. But anyways, he has 4 relics. Also, the draft was really good too. I liked where he played his civilizations. I mean, Sneaky Koala had a couple masterclass victories. Like, that arena game comes to mind. He played Cumin so well there. And yeah, that knight that was patrolling there killed the villager that was making an outpost. That's a desperation outpost from Koala as he now runs. And that is yet another castle. As crazy and as cutthroat as it sounds, I do feel like that early fight from Koala where he lost his 3 archers and a couple of his scouts hurt him the most in this game. Everything else was really good, but that early switch, I think it needed to get a little more value here just because of how the Civ matchup is slanted. Also, herbal medicine. So all the weak knights are hopping inside of castles to heal up right now. And I don't even think you need Trebs. You're so far ahead. You could go for the upgrades on your units, dive in underneath all the castles and win this game. And sadly for Bad Koala or Sneaky Koala, he loses. But Whitecourt with a crazy series moves on. Congratulations to him. I'm pumped for the guy. You know, as I had said in my prediction video, you guys probably don't even remember anything I said in that, but I did predict him to be strong enough to move on. I think I had actually selected him to move on as well, and I meant it. It was a tough series. I hope that this motivates Koala to try and, you know, compete in silver the next time around and eventually move in, and that's the beauty of a season system. If, you know, the support continues, if the interest is there, if it fits the scene, and obviously sponsorship continues, we'll continue to do this every 6 or 7 months indefinitely. And that means that someone like Sneaky Koala can be motivated and say, I can do better. I see there's a chance for me, and try and take those opportunities when they come. Great series. Best series so far of these deciders. 3-2 Whitecourt. 45,000 resources collected there. 35,000 for Koala, who, again, I don't think had a bad game, but Mongols was an obvious pick for him. Whitecourt knew how Mongols would need to play, defended from it early, and then just played Berbers to perfection later on. GG's.